the 27th of June 2026, a beloved figure within the Nation of Islam has passed away. Khadijah Farrakhan, the devoted wife of Nation of Islam leader Louis Farrakhan, widely recognized as the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, has died at the age of 90. For more than 7 decades, she stood beside one of the most influential and controversial religious leaders in America. Although she rarely sought the spotlight for herself, her quiet strength, unwavering faith, and steadfast support helped shape the Farrakhan family and the Nation of Islam community. Her passing marks the end of an extraordinary chapter in the history of the organization she faithfully served for much of her life. The Nation of Islam announced her death on Saturday, June 27, with a statement that read, "The Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, with deep sadness yet with profound gratitude to Allah, informs you that his beloved wife of 72 years, the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, Mother Khadijah, has returned to Allah." Across social media and within the Nation of Islam, tributes poured in celebrating a woman remembered for her dignity, resilience, and lifelong commitment to her family and faith. Today, we remember the remarkable life, enduring legacy, and unforgettable journey of Khadijah Farrakhan. Cause of death. Let me address the question at the top. What killed Khadijah Farrakhan? Khadijah Farrakhan passed away on Saturday, the 27th of June 2026. She was 90 years old. At this time, no official cause of death has been publicly released by the Farrakhan family or the Nation of Islam. The Nation of Islam's statement focused on celebrating her life rather than the circumstances of her passing. They remembered her as a loving wife, mother, a faithful, devoted follower of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Given her advanced age, many supporters have simply focused on honoring her remarkable life rather than speculating about the cause of death. Should the family release additional verified information, it may provide greater clarity in the future. Funeral services have not yet been announced, but the Nation of Islam has promised to keep the public updated. For now, we celebrate the life she lived, a life of service, devotion, and quiet strength. Early life. Born Betsy Ross. Khadijah Farrakhan was born Betsy Ross on the 26th of November 1935 in the United States. Very little has been publicly revealed about her childhood, parents, or early education. Throughout her life, she preferred privacy over publicity, choosing to focus on family, faith, and service rather than personal recognition. Before embracing Islam, she lived as Betsy Ross, a young woman whose life would change forever after meeting the man who would become her lifelong husband. Her future husband was then named Louis Eugene Walcott, a musician and singer who would later become known worldwide as Louis Farrakhan. Their meeting would spark one of the longest-lasting and most recognized marriages in modern American religious history. Marriage to Louis Farrakhan, 72 years of partnership. On the 12th of September 1953, Betsy Ross married Louis Eugene Walcott in Boston, Massachusetts. She was 17 years old. He was 20. Neither of them was Muslim yet. 2 years later, in 1955, everything changed. The couple converted to Islam together after Louis was introduced to the teachings of the Nation of Islam by a fellow musician, Rodney Smith. Following their conversion, Betsy Ross adopted the Islamic name Khadijah Farrakhan, symbolizing a new beginning built on faith and spiritual commitment. Their marriage endured for 72 years, surviving political controversy, public criticism, changing times, and the immense responsibilities that came with Louis Farrakhan's leadership. Many supporters admired their relationship as a powerful example of loyalty, sacrifice, and unwavering partnership. The First Lady of the Nation of Islam. Although Louis Farrakhan became one of America's most recognizable religious figures, Khadijah preferred to work quietly behind the scenes. She earned the affectionate title of the First Lady of the Nation of Islam, reflecting both her respected position and her years of service to the organization. Members frequently described her as compassionate, disciplined, and deeply committed to Islamic teachings. She supported countless educational, religious, and community initiatives, while encouraging women within the Nation of Islam to strengthen their families through faith, discipline, and moral values. The Nation of Islam's home base was Mosque Mariam on the south side of Chicago, where the couple lived. Rather than seeking media attention, Khadijah focused on mentoring, supporting families, and helping strengthen the community from within. She was the emotional foundation of the Farrakhan household, the quiet force that kept the family together through decades of public scrutiny. The Million Woman March, a rare public appearance. Although she generally maintained a private life, Khadijah occasionally stepped onto the public stage during significant moments. One of her most memorable appearances came during the historic Million Woman March in 1997. The event brought together hundreds of thousands of African American women in Philadelphia for a day dedicated to unity, healing, empowerment, and spiritual renewal. During her speech, Khadijah emphasized the importance of family, motherhood, moral responsibility, and faith. She said, "A nation can rise no higher than its women. We focus on women, but cannot lose sight that we must rise as a family, men, women, and children." Her message resonated with many attendees, reinforcing her respected role among women within the Nation of Islam. Though she never became a regular public speaker, that appearance remains one of the defining moments of her public life. Family, 9 children, and 2 tragic losses. Family remained the center of Khadijah Farrakhan's life. She and Louis Farrakhan were blessed with 9 children, raising a large family, while balancing the demanding responsibilities of religious leadership. Their children are Louis Farrakhan, junior eldest son, died 2018. Mustafa Farrakhan. Joshua Nasir Farrakhan, died 2023. Abna Farrakhan, Duna Farrakhan, Hanan Farrakhan, Maria Farrakhan, Fatima Farrakhan, Khadijah Farrakhan. The family experienced profound loss in recent years. Their eldest son, Louis Farrakhan Jr., died in June 2018 from a heart condition at the age of 60. Another son, Joshua Farrakhan, died in 2023 at the age of 64. Despite personal heartbreak, Khadijah remained a source of emotional strength for her husband, children, and grandchildren. Friends and supporters often described her as the emotional foundation of the Farrakhan household. Net worth, a life of service. So, how much was Khadijah Farrakhan worth? Khadijah Farrakhan's personal financial information was never publicly disclosed. Because she dedicated most of her life to family and religious service rather than business or entertainment, no verified estimate of her individual net worth has ever been published. Her family lived in Chicago, primarily at Mosque Mariam, the Nation of Islam's headquarters. Louis Farrakhan himself has maintained a relatively private financial profile, with estimates of his net worth varying widely. But here's what matters. Khadijah Farrakhan's legacy was measured not in financial wealth, but in decades of devotion, leadership through service, and unwavering commitment to her faith and family. Her true treasure was her family and the community she served for more than 70 years. Legacy and final tribute. Khadijah Farrakhan died on the 27th of June 2026. She was 90 years old. Her cause of death has not been publicly disclosed, but the Nation of Islam and her family have chosen to celebrate her remarkable life, not the circumstances of her passing. For more than 70 years, she stood beside Louis Farrakhan through some of the most important moments in Nation of Islam history. She represented stability during periods of controversy, encouragement during difficult times, and unwavering loyalty throughout decades of leadership. Many women within the Nation of Islam viewed her as a role model, whose life reflected patience, dignity, faith, and devotion to family. Her quiet leadership demonstrated that influence does not always require a microphone. Sometimes, the strongest legacy comes from serving faithfully behind the scenes. The passing of Khadijah Farrakhan is more than the loss of a religious leader's wife. It is the farewell to a woman who spent her life supporting her family, strengthening her faith, and standing beside her husband through more than 7 decades of history. She witnessed generations grow, endured personal loss, celebrated countless milestones, and remained committed to her beliefs until the very end. While history may remember Louis Farrakhan as one of the Nation of Islam's most influential leaders, many will also remember Khadijah Farrakhan as the quiet force who stood faithfully beside him. Rest in eternal peace, Mother Khadijah. Your legacy will continue to inspire future generations. If this tribute touched your heart, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you in the next one.